Xbox just had an incredible, a historic Xbox Game Showcase for 2024, and probably one of the best showcases we've seen in many years across all the platforms and publishers. This was a big showcase of some great, huge games, and finally an arrival of Xbox with their big franchises showing, some returning. And for the first time in over a decade, Xbox finally flexed their muscles. They completely cooked with this showcase. Let's break down what is real and how soon we're going to see these huge games. This is Colteastwood. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Today we're going to talk about Xbox's best things from the showcase, just the things from their major studios, and what was actually real gameplay and what needs to be improved. If you end up enjoying this video, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel, hit the bell to be notified of new content, and let's see what Xbox cooked. Let's start off by talking about one of the biggest moments. The huge showcase for this games event was Gears Emergence Days. Now everybody on the internet had predicted or had wishlisted that the Coalition and the Gears team, instead of continuing the story, do some kind of major prequel, show the origin story of Marcus Phoenix. This is what they did. What you're seeing is an incredible showcase of graphics, all in engine in Unreal Engine 5, Coalition being the masters of that engine. They show all in-game assets. This is what the game will look like. This is all cinematic and shows a young Marcus Phoenix with his do-rag removed, flowing hair, and menacing emotional desperation. This is the very beginning of the major war and the origin story of the Cogs. Fans watching this trailer unravel in real time were begging for Marcus to get up and not be pummeled by this locust soldier. Nods to the world and all of the lore with the hanging cog tags, even a glimpse at the retro lancer showing that this game will take place in the very beginning, long before Marcus goes into prison, which starts Gears of War that we played back in 2006. This is exactly what fans wanted. This is how they capped the showcase, and Xbox and the Coalition are definitely going to give us a special treat. I believe that Gears E-Day will be a launch title as they kick off next generation in 2026. But the true start of the show was Doom: The Dark Ages. The flowing fur coat, the double-barrel shotgun, and a Captain America chainsaw shield that can be thrown, used to block bullets, and rip through enemies. Everything in Doom Dark Ages, even though there have been so many titles across its 30-year pedigree, and this is how we are going to see the true origin story of the Doom Slayer. Big enemies, huge weapons, a skull crusher that grinds up a skull and shoots the projectiles out of enemies, a bigger world, a mech suit, and even flying levels. This looks like they cannot stop. It has really made an incredible thing in their id Tech engine, and we cannot wait to see Doom probably in the spring of 2025. Everyone knew it was coming. Joanna Dark, the perfect Dark series being worked on by the Coalition and Crystal Dynamics, even with all the rumors about big turmoil and big development hell. Perfect Dark is finally shown, and oh my gosh, this looks incredible. I was expecting hyper-realistic graphics. I was expecting them to make something mature, modern, and gritty, but instead what we get is a highly stylized, true to form, the old Rare DNA pouring through this development team. The stylized visuals absolutely ooze with artistry. You've got a game that is so highly stylized with incredible action movement. Looking at the way that she holds the pistol, slides in and out of cover. Down on the UI, we can see that there are three major methods of how you'll play as Joanna Dark, with one being a scan and listen feature, another being the pawn icon, which is for high and quick movement, parkour, and contextual based movement a la Mirror's Edge and Dying Light. This is incredible. There is one more thing in the bottom of the UI that shows a mind trick, or something where you'll be able to control other enemies or other robotics or hack other systems. The gameplay showcases quick, on your feet, fast action, using subterfuge and using creativity to get in and around this futuristic Egypt as you work for Datadyne. This is perfect dark. It looks so good. It wowed the audience and fans around the world. We're so excited, but we may not see perfect dark until sometime in late 2025 or 2026. But it's so good to see so much proof of life and so much actual gameplay, even with the UI on, to know this is really what the game's going to look like and how it will feel behind the controls. The biggest surprise of the entire showcase came early on with South of Midnight from Compulsion Games. Here on this channel, I told people to temper expectations, as Compulsion Games has had a hard time getting a big hit from fans. And oh my gosh, did they deliver with South of Midnight. This game looks so incredible. The stylized stop motion animation, the characters, the way they are carved and created in the game, the way that they move around the world, and the visual overlay they put on the characters, this catfish with all of its embellishments. This looks like a game that has so much character and style, and I was so surprised to see the camera pull back and see a full-featured third-person semi-open world game with incredible traversal and a different suite of weapons. I was worried at first that this may be a first-person Ghostwire Tokyo style game, but she has so many different combat mechanics, and with a glide suit and a lasso to get in and around the world, it looks like South of Midnight is going to be a much bigger hit than I ever thought, and the game looks so good. It is showcased that Xbox studios are not just making games in the modern era, they are pushing the games that we used to see last generation. South of Midnight, even though it's stylized, it does not look anywhere near a hyper-realistic game or anything that's super immersive, but it looks so good, it looks so modern and forward-thinking. I cannot wait to get hands-on with South of Midnight. We'll get to do that in 2025. And I was not expecting to see Fable again. We got a great showing last year. We got in-game footage of the engine of Fable, and it looked so surreal. It looked like a pre-rendered cutscene in motion that so many people didn't believe it was real. This is another showcase of what Playground Games is cooking for Xbox, and they have really delivered already. Now, a lot of people are saying they've done a slight upgrade or polishing phase over the main female character. I think it looks fantastic, and I'm starting to learn that not every game has to look the same. I am really in love with the way that Fable looks. The lush environments, when she walks into the village, it absolutely bowled everybody over. The game has so much style, and the combat, we get to see a few new additions from what we saw before. Other than swordplay and a fireball, we also have levitation powers, ranged weapons, and be able to deflect arrows back into the enemy. The game also told a really great story. If you were paying attention to the dialogue, you thought that Humphrey here was talking about the main female character, but instead there is an ominous threat of an actual true villain that will be overshadowing the entire game, and it is teased at the end. What a great trailer. Fable is coming out next year in 2025. It looks so good. I really would like to see it come out right now. I can't wait to see what Playground does over the next year. Avowed. Now, here's a game that isn't going to get many accolades or get everybody rallying around, waiting on every or any single tidbit of information, but Avowed is actually a game I think you need to start getting excited for. There was a 30-minute deep dive after the showcase where they talked about a full third-person playable mode, which fans have been asking for since the first reveal. The game has seen huge improvements to combat, where it is more punchy and less floaty or spongy. The difference of all of the attacks you can make, there are combinations that can be done on the fly through the D-pad with melee weapons and ranged weapons and magic and fire and destruction. It looks really good. The character models are also really super whimsical when it comes to fantasy. The color palette's amazing, and some of these environments are actually competing with some of these other major games. Now, at first, Avowed may not look like a graphical showcase. It's all in Unreal Engine 5. It's all going to be a game from Xbox Game Studios and Obsidian. It's what they do best, but I think we're going to see some incredible vistas, some mind and eye-popping visuals as we go into colorful caves and big vistas outside. The game looks so good. I'm way more excited for Avowed than I should be. I don't want to be let down. Obsidian's always done things that I love. Avowed looks awesome. Okay, the next two games had some problems and issues, but still showed quite well. We'll start with State of Decay 3. I had heard about a month before the showcase that State of Decay 3 looks just as good in gameplay as it does in cutscenes. I didn't know what that meant, as this game typically doesn't have cutscenes, but what we got was a very cinematic trailer with much of the camera being pulled away from a position or perspective where we would think it's gameplay. Now, I have broken down the gameplay, and from this 3 or 4 minute trailer, there are actually parts that I believe make up 1 minute total of actual gameplay, either in proper perspective over the shoulder or some reverse camera angles, but all in engine if you were able to do that in the game. This was a really cool tone setting trailer that also showed how great this game looks in Unreal Engine 5. The Coalition has been busy helping Undead Labs come up with this game on the Unreal Engine 5 to make it look this good. And the last two games were very stylized and weren't graphical showcases at all. This one does, but I do see a lot of hints of stiffer animations, much like we saw in the last game, but I also saw some cool little features and clambering over the fences in the car that look like they've made some improvements. I would expect them to do that, as these were some of the last things that were on their mind when they made the last game. State of Decay 3 is so much more improved. I hope they do things that make the game bigger and better, and we'll get into those as we hear more about State of Decay probably next year. We don't have a release date for State of Decay 3, and that's fine. I'm glad it looks good, and I hope they make it play incredible. The next game I gotta talk about is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I was frustrated to see a 3-minute plus cutscene, which set a really great tone about Indiana Jones and his character, and how Troy Baker's doing a phenomenal job of creating his version of Harrison Ford, and all of the humor and the style and character that we expect from the movies is definitely intact from this lengthy and kind of boring at times cutscene where we would never have control at those points. But there is another gameplay montage, which I'll also bookend with the gameplay montage that we saw at the Direct just a few months ago. So we've seen a lot of short, quick gameplay segments for Indiana Jones, and we've seen a lot of different locations, but this one didn't impress me as much because it's a Machine Games game. It's going to look amazing. It's going to play great. Hopefully the story is just as good. The character looks like it's spot on. I'm super excited for Indiana Jones, and I hope that when they release it at the end of this year that we all get that game that's worth that wait. One more for a bonus is Starfield's Shattered Space DLC, which has been a long time coming and is supposed to be out probably in September of 2024. This is a huge improvement. Just looking at this trailer, the color splash alone shows that Starfield is finally truly coming to life as they build the game. I wanted the game to be this big from the outset, but they've made major improvements over the past 9 months with a 60 FPS mode for Xbox, and now they brought in the creation kit, mods, bounties, and so much more. A full fleshed out story from the House of Varun and a massive derelict ship to check out. They brought in the entire alien space vibe where you go into a derelict ship and see bodies and ghost creatures, which also give this vibe that you got from the game Prey in 2016. They brought a bunch of new mechanics and weapons and new armor and gear to make the game feel renewed. A space scourge that is across this different location in the game for this part of the extended campaign shows more varied locations and gives the game more evil and a sinister vibe. What Bethesda will do here with the Starfield expansion will add things to the base game that will be part of this DLC, but will continue to build upon it and give us more weapons and different ways to play the game. Also, with the creation kit and mod things that is coming into the world, there is a whole new way to play Starfield, to start over or continue and make the game truly feel like your own. They've done a lot of work, and to shadow drop all of this new content before Shattered Space will give people who just can't stop playing Starfield plenty to do. Xbox had so many other reveals, and they had so many other partnered games. Game Pass editions that I could cover here. I covered them in my last podcast, but looking at what their first-party studios are doing, Bethesda, Xbox Game Studios, and now with Activision and Blizzard, they've got so many great games that for once the media is all in. The excitement and the hype and the confidence is showing for the Xbox team, and it's been far too long. And if they keep this up, looking at 2024 alone has so many games that are from Xbox's first party that looking into 2025, all we can do is just say there's even more to look forward to, and we're hearing they're still not done. This is Colteastwood. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I covered a 4-hour podcast the other day where we broke down everything that they showed. We talked about Summer Games Fest. We talked about how right now Xbox has done everything for the first time. I think they've done almost everything right. I know a lot of people are frustrated about release dates. They really wanted to see, most of all, about when those games are coming out. Even the ones this year, like Indiana Jones and Avowed, they're coming out this year, but where's the date? Well, right now, they don't need to give a date until, 3 months before the game comes out because things are so fluid eventually this holiday, and they have to manage a pretty packed schedule, and hey, that's their problem, not ours. If you ended up enjoying this video, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell to be notified of new content. If you want to further support the work we do here on the Colteastwood channel, you can do that by hitting the join button below, and that will get you into early access for videos and also get you into monthly merch giveaways and so much more. Check out the XNC podcast there. Middle-aged game guy and I are talking about the game news. We're breaking things down. We're bringing in guests from time to time to get their perspective on the games industry. People also want to know about the exclusive thing, and I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to worry about much of anything because what it looks like right now is Xbox has so many games. They're all coming to Game Pass. I don't even know what's left to complain about anymore. And for once, I am truly excited and happy about where they're going, and I can't wait to play these games. I want to know which game you think was the standout hit. And it's okay if it's not Gears E-Day because that's everyone's favorite. Which one besides that was your favorite of the show? Let me know down in the comment section. I'll see you soon. Thanks for all your support. And as I always say, be nice. Oh, wait. Yes. If you didn't click off the video, you're still here. Hey, and that means I guess you want to hear what I have to say because I don't often give much of an opinion on videos or tell many stories or anything, but I thought maybe I would just take a moment and tell you about my experience of being at the Xbox Showcase in person in LA. This was an amazing experience to be around friends that I podcast with and that I game with on Xbox Live and friends that I talk to every day on the phone. It was really, really incredible. And be able to talk and hang out and get excited about a showcase. I was fortunate to go to the Xbox Mixer with content creators, games media, and Xbox leadership and PR. We all were talking the night before the show, and Xbox was super confident. Me telling you that now doesn't really help, as you know, the show went really, really well. It was great to talk to people like Phil Spencer. I talked to Jason Ronald, who's a really, really great guy, and some of the PR people and Sarah Bond being there in the theater, sitting amongst 300 fans and 500 or 600 industry journalists and content creators behind us in the theater with a huge screen running at 60 frames, a great sound system, seeing all of these trailers come to life. Like I said, that moment, just seeing that stuff all in person, sitting next to my friends who were yelling and cheering and clapping, and you could just feel the energy. And I think some of that energy translated to all of you at home who are watching the show on your phones or on your TVs or whatever it was. What a great time to be there. And then the after, hanging out with fans, meeting people that watch this podcast and my videos, and meeting people that we talk to in other shows and other game chats online. It's a really great experience. I'm so glad this is the 4th one I've gone to. I hope I can go every single year. And most of all, I hope Xbox continues to really swing for the fences and connect with those hits so that we can continue to celebrate having great games to play, playing them with all of you and talking about them. And that's what matters most. Traveled all the way home, did a 4-hour podcast. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. If you're listening to everything, I just wanted to tell you, there is a lot of reasons to be excited. There's even more stuff to talk about. There's a handheld that's, I think it's coming. Phil's really saying it, and there's going to be big changes for hardware. They're going to be super cool, and they've just made tons of partnerships. So if you hear me ramble on this long, give me the code word Lukather in the chat to say, hey, I hung out and listened to Colteastwood talk about his stuff. I appreciate all of your support. It means a lot to me. I get half the stuff right. The stuff I do, it's cool. The stuff I get wrong, I get beat down. Hey, but that's okay. I get to do what I love. I get to sit in front of a microphone and talk about my favorite hobby. I get to hang out with you guys in the chat and in the comments. It means the world to me. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being here. I can't wait to hear what your favorite game is from the showcase. Do that in the comments. And for real this time, I'm out of here. Have a good one.